the leaves turning color really is, it's just nature, right? The trees have to stop producing food, otherwise their leaves would just die anyways. And this is the mechanism that trees over the millennia have learned to adapt to cold weather. Leaves are green during the growing season because they have a pigment called chlorophyll that captures the sun's energy, and that chlorophyll is used to make the food that the tree is using during the growing season to grow. Once the tree stops making chlorophyll, there are other pigments already in the leaf that are yellows and orange. They're called xanthophylls, carotenes. It's what makes carrots orange and banana peels yellow. And those pigments show up. We say they're unmasked. Now, in the fall, it gets cold, and there's another chemical process that happens when it gets cold. The tree is continuing to make sugar, or food, even into early fall. But when the weather's really cold, the sugar gets trapped in the leaves. And the leaves take advantage of that, and they create another whole class of pigments called anthocyanins, and those are reds and purples. Trees are long-lived, they're resilient, they have adapted over time, they persist. And I think I've learned that from trees. Keep at it, persist, adapt, be resilient. If you look at pictures of foresters, they're always looking up, because that's where we can tell whether we have healthy trees or not. Is there a lot of foliage up there, or are there a lot of dead limbs? So we're always looking up. We're focusing on foliage, but you know, for a good part of the year in the northern area, there is no foliage, so foresters know how to identify trees by the bark. Here, we'll look at this one over here. So this is a red maple. Red maple bark is grayish. It's very variable. It goes from being really smooth to really shaggy. This is fairly shaggy. You can tell a birch because they have these horizontal lines in the bark. You can see those horizontal lines. They're called lenticels. They help with the gas exchange for the tree. So when I see these horizontal lines, I say to myself, it's some kind of birch or it's some kind of fruit tree. This happens to be a yellow birch. I really like this author, Bernd Heinrich. He's a local author, and he tends to look at trees holistically. He doesn't just look at trees for lumber or trees for wildlife habitat. He looks at their natural history. This is part of a chapter he calls a forest ramble. I ramble in my home woods at different times and circumstances. I've struck out in the middle of a blizzard. Once in July, I waited until midnight to head out. I've wandered out on a spring dawn, just when the warblers were returning, on sweltering summer afternoons when the black flies were biting in thunderstorms, and also under blue, sunny skies in Indian summer, when the woods were a kaleidoscope of brilliant colors. In my memory, I savor the images that were collected on these rambles, and that bind me to this place.